In upcoming DCU news, Zack Snyder said himself that he is no longer returning to DC. What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Fatal J. Back like I left something, and I'm glad you're here. Yes, I'm glad you're here. And this is a new installation of the Fatal J channel where we're going to be doing epic DCU news throughout the week. I'm going to keep you updated on James Gunn tweets that you might have missed because he bounced around social media because he's trying to get away from people who trying to turn his posts into scoops, which are not true. And we're going to be talking about that he debunked a lot of Superman legacy DCEU news, and we're going to be talking about Zack Snyder and his involvement with the Snyderverse is no longer. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, but before we get into it, I need you to do this. I need you to watch this video from the beginning all the way to the end because it helps me in the algorithm. Also, I need you to like, I need you to subscribe, and I need you to hit that notification bell because every time you hit that notification bell, it makes your boy Fatal J feel oh so good and oh so swell. Yeah. Now let's get into the first epic DCU news that just dropped today. It's showing you right here. This is what it says. This is from Discussing Film, and the source is The Hollywood Reporter. It says Zack Snyder says he called James Gunn to wish all the best for him. I told him I wanted it to work. He asked if Gunn invited him back to DC, he will only be interested in doing a true adaptation of Dark Knight Returns. Now, if you're on Twitter, you notice there's a bunch of hashtag restore the Snyderverse and hashtag sell the Snyderverse to Netflix. Well, looks like that is gone. Zack Snyder, he doesn't want anything to do with that unless it's a Dark Knight Returns adaptation. Now, BVS, Batman vs. Superman, is a adaptation of Dark Knight Returns. Yes, that is true, but it's loosely based. So it looked like Zack Snyder wanted to take all that out and he want to focus on the comic book by Frank Miller. Now, Zack Snyder have already did a Frank Miller comic book as well. 300 was absolutely fire. So it's interesting to see how this is going to play out with the people who really pushing sell Snyderverse, what they're going to do now since Zack Snyder basically said, I don't want nothing else to do with the Justice League and none of that. And to add on to that, if you think I'm lying, check this out right here from the DCU updates. And their source also was The Hollywood Reporter. Let's check it out right here. It says Zack Snyder says that his chapter of his life, the DCU, now closed, and it will be difficult to coerce him to reopen it. He says he's entirely focused now on a new universe. He's molding on a distant, remote moon where nobody wears spandex or flies around without a spaceship. And that is the title of that article that you see right here. It's just like Zack Snyder want to focus on his own IP, which is a smart move. Very smart move, because when you're dealing with DC and Warner, you have to go by what the studios want, what DC studios want, and not your own vision of what you have for those characters. But Zack Snyder is coming out with Rebel Moon this month in December. And Zack Snyder can do anything with this IP because those are his characters. He can do anything with the merch. He can do comic books. He can do whatever. Video games, animation. He can do all that. And that is 100% his property. Now, I want to ask you this. Would you rather go with the route of focusing on your favorite comic book characters and having people tell you what to do with those characters, or make your own characters and make 100% off that character? Now, if you said the first one, you're cuckoo. Yeah. Let's go to the next DCU news out there. This is from James Gunn from Threads, Facebook Threads, or is it Instagram Threads? I'm not sure. I'm not on it that much. I'm only on it because James Gunn is on there. And he be dropping tidbits that we need to know, debunking different things and confirming different things. Now, this is what James Gunn had to say this week on Threads. This is what he said. After auditioning hundreds of folks for both of these roles, we finally found perfect fits with both Skylar Gasondo and Sarah Sampaio. Can't wait for you guys to see them in action. The summer of 2025, hashtag Superman Legacy, hashtag Jimmy Olsen, and hashtag Testmaker. Superman Legacy adds Skylar Garsando and Jimmy Olsen and Sarah Sampaio as Testmaker. Now, that was the news that dropped last week. And we got my boy Holt. He's going to be Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy. So he was basically saying his congratulations. And then James Gunn had to answer a fan's post. This is what it said right here. The post is from Coffee Match 30. Were any of these hundreds of auditions for Legacy during the strike? And James Gunn said, of course not. That would never happen with any of the parties involved. Not actors, not agents, not studios. Skylar, Sarah, and the Farrah were all actually cast, contracts done before the strike happened. And they were troopers about keeping the secret, which I'm sure was difficult. Now, for real, that is the lady that was cast as the engineer, and she's going to be a part of the Authority, which is going to be in Superman Legacy. If you're not familiar with the Authority, that is a superhero team that's a part of Wildstorm DC. Wildstorm is Jim Lee comic book imprint that got bought out by DC, and these are some renegade type of superheroes. They don't go by the book. They're not fashion like Superman. So it's going to be interesting to see these characters collab against each other in Superman Legacy. And this is going to be the introduction to the DCU live action introduction. Now let's go to some next news with James Gunn on Threads. Now, James Gunn, this is what he said. What's the status on a Peacemaker? I gotta say that this is quite possibly the best opening of any show I've seen. James Gunn said, I'm about to go upstairs and continue writing season 2. So it's confirmed that Peacemaker is going to be in the DCU. People better get used to it, because you had a lot of people out there complaining about Peacemaker. Now, when I was watching Peacemaker, I absolutely didn't like that joint, but I was looking through a Snyderverse type of lens. I went back and watched Peacemaker, and I have to say, that is a very entertaining show once you sit down and really grasp what's going on in the show. So it's very interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and it's very interesting that he's working on part 2. Let's continue. He's replying to another person on Threads. This is what the person said. He said, on a good week, how long does it take to write an episode for Peacemaker? You write so much, you must be getting carpal tunnel syndrome. That's pain in your hand from writing or doing work with your hands. James Gunn, first season was about a week per episode. That's one more because of everything else happening. It's more thinking than writing, so no carpal. I get a lot that as a young person though. In my 20s, I wrote a novel in 2 weeks just to get my first novel out of the way. And no, it was never released, and it shouldn't be. So there you go. James Gunn is working on Peacemaker. And that's pretty much all the DCU news I have for this week. But trust me, more of these videos are coming. More Superman Legacy news are coming. I'm going to drop these videos weekly to get you guys caught up, because I know a lot of you guys out there are not worried about social media. Some people taking breaks on social media. So you can come right here to get your daily DCU news. You guys let me know how you feel about the Zack Snyder not returning to the DCU. How do you feel about Zack Snyder not being in the Snyderverse no more? And if he had to return to DC, he's only returning for Batman, a Dark Knight adaptation. Now, I think a Dark Knight adaptation will be absolutely fire. And I think it will be good because he can focus on one character instead of focusing on all the characters in the Justice League. Even though Superman is a part of Dark Knight Returns. So it's going to be real interesting to see if Zack returns. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Snyderverse cult, and that's what I'm going to call him, because I'm a Snyderverse fan. But I also understood at the end of the day that Zack Snyder wanted his own IP. He didn't want to deal with Warner no more. And I knew eventually he was going to have to say something to the cult and let them know, man, look, I'm more happier where I'm at. And I don't want to do the Snyderverse no more, but I am willing to do another DC project. So that's going to be real interesting. As you can see right here, my cat is losing his mind right now. So I guess that's time for me to go. So you guys let me know how you feel about that, about the news. Let me know how you feel about this new segment in the Fatal J Show. And I'm out of here. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell. Because every time you hit that notification bell, it makes your boy Fatal J feel oh so good and oh so swell. And I'm out of here. Ninja vanish. Yo, 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 yo.